Hi, this is day 3 out of 365 videos that I will be uploading in the whole year. Is that correct? My brain is kind of mush right now. I am so sleepy. I never took a nap today. I could, but I was afraid that if I did, I would wake up way too late and I wouldn't be able to upload a video. I would have missed today and also missed the whole point of this challenge. So with that, I actually don't know what I'm supposed to talk about. But there's one thing that I keep forgetting to mention. Remember in my first video when I said I've been itching to do this challenge and upload a video, even if I don't know what to say, just taking it on. I felt that February 6th, 2020, the loudest, and I just went for it. Now, I went to compare it with a video that I uploaded of myself on YouTube 6 years ago. When I saw the date, I was completely shocked because the first time I've ever uploaded a video on YouTube was February 8th of 2020. I was existing within the week where I was supposed to celebrate my 6th year anniversary of uploading my first YouTube video. I let 6 years pass. My mind is split right there. Part of me regrets not pursuing it. A part of me is relieved that I didn't. Because what did I have to say 6 years ago? I didn't know that much. Also, the kind of person that I was before, I was so driven by ego and need for validation. I don't think it would have ended well. I would have probably been canceled 3 years later. I am glad that the things I tried to achieve at a time that I was so desperate for it, I never got. So, why do I always reiterate commitment, discipline, and consistency? Because as internally disciplined I am, I have no external discipline. I can be committed majority of the time. As a curious person, I'm only interested. I had a podcast not too long ago because I was so interested on what it's like to have a podcast. But I never actually stuck with it. Because like I said, I was interested but I was not committed. And as for consistency, I have this thing where when I want to do something, I would give it full intensity and passion. But the thing about giving that much energy in the very beginning is that you burn out pretty quick. It's not sustainable. That's an issue for me. I never appreciated the value and the principle of consistency. And I was always just aggressively going after something, breaking through something, then, nothing after. Why don't we talk about discipline for now? Let's go one by one. Talk a little in depth about discipline. Apparently, you can have internal and external discipline. Internal discipline is more about being regulated. When you know something is bad for you, emotionally, you are able to cut it out immediately because it's gonna harm you eventually. It's practically the same concept with external discipline. If you want a nice body and you're eating sweets or anything that's bad for your physical health, you should be able to cut it out right away because it's gonna do you harm eventually. I can't always say that I'm religiously sticking to that. That's part of my weakness. Emotionally, I'm not swayed easily. For example, somebody showed interest in me. When I weigh the values that we have, the attitude, the way we conduct ourselves, the beliefs versus the attraction I also have for them, it doesn't make sense. It's misaligned, it's incompatible. I'm not likely to pursue that connection because compatibility is such a huge thing if you want something to last. It's not a fleeting connection. If it's just messing around, sure. If you want something of substance and long lasting, you have to consider compatibility. How would you test that? by having a set of values, standards, and guidelines spiritually, mentally, and emotionally that prompt you to stay in your lane and stick to the promises that you have for yourself. No matter how perfect somebody is, if I see that they're going to clash with my beliefs or my values that I don't want to compromise, they gotta go. When it comes to food or lazy stuff, I'm not proud to admit that I might just be the queen of self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is not about the inability to carry out the external discipline. It is the unconscious loyalty that we have to an identity that believes we are not worthy of the things that we dream about. Okay, that was impromptu. I just thought about it in this moment. So how do we remedy that? How do we aligning internal and external discipline? How do we have that? And this is where commitment comes in. Commitment is something that we need in order to stick to an activity, a promise to ourselves, or a venture wherein it requires the next level of ourselves. The thing is, majority of the time these days, people are just mainly interested. They're not committed. They would say, oh, I really like that, I want that. There's no follow through. They express interest, they're not committed to achieving it. An example for that would be right here. Remember when I mentioned the podcast that I started? I didn't get to stick to it. I have the skills. I have soft and hard skills to keep it going. When I examined if I was excited by the work that it took to carry it through for an entire year without anybody listening, it drained me. The thought of it just drained me. That's when I found out I was just interested in it. I wasn't committed to it. However, right now, with this video, I've always been editing videos for as long as I can remember, since I was a kid. When I imagine myself recording, editing, adding captions, creating the cover, it's not even that grand, but just thinking about doing it for 365 times every day without anybody watching, liking, or sharing, or subscribing, I didn't care. It excited me, and partly because I think that my obsession with meeting my higher self is through the roof. Because if you think about it, day one of me is a different person. Who will I be after 365 days? I am excited to examine and look back on my beginning and my very end and compare just how far I've come. Maybe in my speech, in the way I make the videos, in the stuff that I talk about. It's just so exciting to me to think about. It doesn't matter to me that nobody sees what I'm doing. I'm gonna do it for me. Maybe that's why I was able to stick to it up to day 3. But then again, it's still the 3rd day. We don't know. There is literally 365 days. What the heck am I gonna talk about for 365 days? I have no clue. But you know what? Inspiration is everywhere. So we move on to consistency. Like I mentioned earlier, that when it comes to consistency, I do struggle with it a little bit, because with the way our society is built right now, especially with social media, instant payoffs motivate you to stay consistent. You want to see the outcome right away. Especially, it's not helping when we see overnight successes, blah blah blah. The concept of delayed gratification has been completely erased in our vocabularies, that we just think, let's just do this for this and that amount of time, and then we'll probably be famous influencer, we'll probably be getting paid this amount on YouTube. But then when they've put on so much time and effort doing that, and then they're not seeing any payoff, we kind of falter. Rightfully so. it's valid to lose interest. Consistency falters, and that's only valid because if you think about it, the goal was not generated from intrinsic value, rather extrinsic. You're probably thinking, oh, it's been 90 days and we announced that we're gonna do this and we're still not famous. You know what? We'll just quit. So it's really important that when we start something, we have to have, I hate to say realistic, rather a goal that is of substance. We should stop tying our identities and our self-worth into how much output or how much we can achieve. A lot of people might disagree with that, but what worked for me, I can only say what worked for me. What works for me and what hacked my brain is that my penchant for self-development and meeting my higher self and meeting my next level is unhinged. In order for me to stay consistent, I just have to tie my goals and my motivations to that. Voila. Consistent, disciplined, committed. That's all that I have to say for now. So see you on day 4.